drop some science on Scientology.
You have implants that tell you your theta body is inside of you. It's not. You have implants that tell you that you are constructed this way and that way and so and so and so and so. You're not. Now, we talked in the past about entities, about people having one sector of their body responds to female, one responds to male, and one responds this way, that way. What are these things, and how do you get rid of them? Are they really people? What are they? Well, I found out what they were and how you get rid of them. They're synthetics, and they are the result of all of your past sins and crimes. Oh, you believe in past lives. Oh, we're not talking about past lives. We're talking about the whole track. Actually, your messed body only has one life. It gets born and it kicks the bucket. And that's that. 70, sometimes less. Your whole track process appears to something that nobody ever processed before because nobody could really locate. And that is the theta body, the actual you, which goes back practically to the beginning of time. Now, some estimation then has to be covered in addition to that of what's it all about. What possible goal do you have? And we have to go over this because you're going to be asked the question many times by many pre-clears, and you're going to ask the question yourself. I got it solved. What do I do now? Just that. I mean, yeah, theta body, I've got it. This is it, and I am it, and I can do this or that. Well, what do I do? What do you do? Suddenly get mad and people on Earth and mix them up? Or because all of a sudden into your hands has delivered considerable potentialities. Is it safe to leave Earth? Now, isn't it funny for me to be standing here discussing these as practical facts you'll have to know? Now, if enough people got together and thought chaotically enough and drove enough people down into apathy and below apathy, you'd eventually get planets and everything. You can actually work out, along this theory, the creation of the meshed universe, creation of any universe. And sure enough, as you run a pre-clear back on the time track, you get an area that he is fond of calling the home universe. This is the home universe, he says. And what's he do in this universe? Well, you're liable to get a description of him sitting around and making illusions to examine, to look at other illusions. There were a lot of people got together and did this, and he's happy as a clam about the thing. And you'll discover various odd mechanisms which they have invented at that time. A common one is the thought pool. This is still unsolved on the track, by the way. I still don't know what the thought pool is all about. Because there's a pool of thought, and then one day, all of a sudden, there's a black spot appears in the middle of it, and the fellow can't move. Now, that incident you'll find on most time tracks. And turbulated. So you can't be human and be right. The reason you can't be human and be right is because you think you've got to return the motions which you receive from human beings, and they're wrong. Theoretically, the fellow shoots you with a high-powered bullet. You watch it coming in, you say, is this the motion I want? No. So you got lots of time. This bullet's traveling only at 4,400 feet per second. You're high up the tone scale, so the bullet is coming in at this speed. You say, no. Gone. Doesn't hit you. So if it did hit you, you just run the somatic. You say, hey, what'd you shoot me for? Oh, you're mad at me? Oh? Oh, yeah. What would happen to this universe if any one of you suddenly cut loose with all the horsepower necessary to blow it up? And you said, I don't like that sun, wakes me up every morning, besides I'm tired of waking up. It's probably the only thing that holds Earth in here anyhow. Well, of course, this is unimaginable, and this is ridiculous, but if everybody started thinking that way individually and 2 or 3 people agreed that it wasn't a good universe, and they decided to make another universe, well, they'd have to put this one into thenness, wouldn't they? They wouldn't even blow it up. They would say, then, blank space. That's theoretical. Highly theoretical. You wouldn't even have to burn it down. You'd just say then. Because actually Dianetics is a bad thing. It's a thoroughly vicious, wicked thing. If it were not for the fact that Earth is a prison, and it doesn't matter what happens to it, it'd be a rough deal to release Dianetics. It'd be a rough deal. For those who desire to control this system. For those in control, then, Dianetics is highly antipathetic, because it permits you to control. Now I'll let you go a lot longer through this course before you suddenly recognize what I'm talking about in its full clarity. What do you got a body for? What do you got hands for? Picks and shovels. What do you got a body for? Well, it has fingerprints. Police power. Police power cannot exist without a body. I'd love to see you get the fingerprints of a theta body. And what happens to the FBI files if you all of a sudden started to clear a lot of theta clears? What happens? What happens to law and order? Well, I should differentiate and call them beings and human beings and so forth, but actually, no matter where they started in on the track, no matter what race they started in as, no matter what number of invader they started in as in this universe, no matter what number of creator or anything else, it doesn't matter, eventually they wind up somehow or other as people. Maybe some of them have got tentacles and some of them have got horns, but they're still people, because they wind up in the same track. It doesn't matter what universe a person comes from, he consists of the same component parts of thought, emotion, and effort. That is very certain. There is a period between lives when they knock out a person's identity, and that's they is used advisedly, because the they will someday be done to, just as you once did it to somebody else. So there's a knockout in there of facsimiles, where they're just crowded into a pile and swept aside. And the trick mechanism there is they show you a series of pictures, and they say, hey, look, your memories are all disappearing. Now, I'm being very specific about this incident. It's actually a series of pictures, and they flash by your eyes, and they are just approximations of things that might have happened to you in that last lifetime. They aren't your memories at all, but they're a mock-up of your memories. And they go by, and they hit you with a nice screen, a nice wave motion, and you see these things going by, and they say, see, we're erasing your memory for you, and now you're going to feel much better. And you go for it, because it seems to you to be a good idea. The medical profession is very alert this time. They're only 2 years behind Dianetics. And you'll find surreptitiously medical doctors all through the country, here and there, are in very good agreement with Dianetics, because they found out it worked. And if you'll notice, I don't make fun of them anymore, so they must be agreeing with me.
There's a place in Florida where you've got friends. We'll help you present if you give us those ends. Party at the Church of Scientology. Don't call it a cult, you just don't understand. Write us a check and take our hand. Party at the Church of Scientology.
Actors are a target for their army of elite. They feed their self-esteem and make them feel